7207. If power lines become a factor during a balloon flight, a pilot should know that. A. It is safer to contact the lines than chance ripping. B. Contact with power lines creates no great hazard for a balloon. C. It is better to chance ripping at 25 feet above the ground than contacting power lines. The correct answer is C. 1. Safety considerations. Power lines pose a significant hazard to balloon flights. Contacting power lines can result in electric shock, damage to the balloon envelope, and potential injury or fatality to the occupants of the balloon. It is crucial to prioritize safety and avoid any contact with power lines. 2. Altitude considerations. A height of 25 feet above the ground. At this altitude, the risk of contracting power lines is extremely high, given their typical height and placement. In such a scenario, it is safer to chance ripping, which means making an intentional rapid descent to the ground, even if it results in damage to the balloon envelope. The priority is to avoid any contact with power lines and minimize the potential for serious accidents. Based on this reasoning, option C correctly suggests that it is better to chance ripping at 25 feet above the ground than contacting power lines. Safety should be the primary concern, and pilots should take all necessary precautions to avoid power lines and prevent any dangerous situations during a balloon flight. 7208. What is a potential hazard in a balloon during a climb that exceeds maximum rate? A. Envelope may collapse. B. Deflation port may be forced open. C. Rapid flow of air may extinguish the burner and pilot light. The correct answer is B. 1. Maximum rate of climb. Balloons have a specified maximum rate of climb, which should not be exceeded for safe and efficient operation. Exceeding the maximum rate of climb can put additional stress on the balloon envelope and its components. 2. Deflation port. A deflation port is a small opening in the balloon envelope designed to allow controlled deflation of the hot air during landing or descent. This port is typically equipped with a vent line or a rope that can be pulled to open the port and release hot air. Excessive pressure resulting from a climb that exceeds the maximum rate could potentially force open the deflation port unintentionally. 3. Hazardous consequences. If the deflation port is forced open during a climb, it can lead to a sudden and uncontrolled release of hot air from the envelope. This can cause a rapid descent or loss of lift, which can be hazardous to the safety and stability of the balloon. Based on this reasoning, option B correctly identifies that a potential hazard in a balloon during a climb that exceeds the maximum rate is that the deflation port may be forced open. Pilots should always be aware of and adhere to the specified limitations and recommended procedures to ensure safe balloon operations. 7209. What is the recommended ascent rate upon initial launch of a balloon? A. Maximum ascent to altitude to avoid low-level thermals. B. Shallow ascent to take maximum advantage of lighter winds. C. A moderate rate of ascent to determine wind directions at different altitudes. The correct answer is C. 1. Determining wind directions. Ascending at a moderate rate allows the pilot to observe and assess wind directions at different altitudes. This information is crucial for planning and controlling the balloon's flight path, as winds can vary at different altitudes and affect the balloon's direction and ground speed. 2. Wind gradient. The wind gradient refers to the change in wind speed and direction with increasing altitude. By ascending at a moderate rate, the pilot can observe and analyze the wind gradient to make informed decisions about the balloon's altitude and potential flight path adjustments. 3. Safety and control. Ascending at a moderate rate provides the pilot with better control over the balloon's climb and allows for safer operations. A controlled ascent rate helps maintain stability and allows the pilot to react and adjust to changing conditions more effectively. Based on this reasoning, option C correctly identifies that a moderate rate of ascent is recommended upon the initial launch of a balloon. It enables the pilot to gather valuable wind information at different altitudes and ensures safer and more controlled balloon operations. 7210. What is one procedure for relighting the burner while in flight? A. Open the blast valve full open and light the pilot light. B. Open another tank valve, open the blast valve, and light the main jet using reduced flow. C. Close the tank valves, vent the fuel lines, reopen the tank valves, and light the pilot light. The correct answer is B. 1. Opening another tank valve. In the event of a burner flameout or extinguishment, opening another tank valve allows the flow of fuel from an alternative fuel source. This ensures a continuous supply of fuel for the burner. 2. Opening the blast valve. The blast valve controls the flow of fuel to the main jet, which is responsible for producing the flame. Opening the blast valve allows the fuel to reach the main jet. 3. Lighting the main jet with reduced flow. Once the blast valve is open, the pilot can ignite the main jet, which will produce the burner flame. It is important to use reduced flow initially to avoid a sudden, excessive burst of heat. Gradually increasing the flow can help stabilize the flame and prevent any potential issues. By following this procedure, opening another tank valve, opening the blast valve, and lighting the main jet with reduced flow, the pilot can relight the burner while in flight, ensuring a continued supply of heat for the balloon. 7211. If you are in a balloon over a heavily wooded area with no open fields in the vicinity and have only 10 minutes of fuel remaining, you should A. Stay low and keep flying in hopes you will find an open field. B. Climb as high as possible to see where the nearest landing field is. C. Land in the trees while you have sufficient fuel for a controlled landing. The correct answer is C. 1. Landing in the trees. Given the limited fuel remaining, it is crucial to prioritize safety and attempt a landing rather than risking running out of fuel while still searching for an open field. Landing in the trees may provide a more controlled descent and minimize the chances of an uncontrolled landing in a densely wooded area. 2. Sufficient fuel for a controlled landing. By choosing to land while there is still sufficient fuel, the pilot can maintain control over the descent and maneuver the balloon to the best available spot within the wooded area. This allows for a safer and more controlled landing, reducing the risk of damage to the balloon and potential injury to the occupants. Based on this reasoning, option C correctly suggests that landing in the trees while having sufficient fuel for a controlled landing is the most appropriate course of action in the given scenario.